All right, Evan. It is My Cup of Tea, episode number 149.
149. Man.
Yeah.
I feel like it's
And
going to be higher. This is the highest we've gone anything else, though, right? 149?
did we
I
hit
think,
150 on Hyperspace?
no way. What do we?
Oh,
Wait, do you
oh,
count Andor commentaries?
no. The commentaries I don't count at all.
Okay.
I have them under the same label as My Cup of Tea and Hyperspace, but I don't
Yeah, I
number
think
them.
I think Hyperspace is like 120 something. I don't know.
I thought we were
Anyway,
higher. I thought we were at 150 for something. I remember you were like, "Oh, name there's something big for 150." I'm like, "Shut up."
I
No.
thought so too. Maybe,
Or was that
but
130? It was 130, a
maybe
random ass
130.
number. You fuck.
But 149, we're here, and guess what, Nathan?
I'm
We
not
built
happy.
this podcast on rock and roll.
Hey, okay.
Get it, Theo?
He's spitting.
um, so yeah, we'll be talking about Daredevil. Everything that Fisk went through. Got the song stuck in his head.
Jesus Christ. Oh, that's right. That's why you
Come
brought
on,
up the
come on.
song. I thought you were just cultures.
No, me culture the hell.
The social studies teacher.
Right. Nice. So we'll be talking about the recent episode of Daredevil. We are officially at the halfway point because episode 4 was this week.
I didn't realize that.
We have 4 more episodes to go. I mean, that's what usually happens when these episodes drop like the first 2 episodes at once, and then you're already at episode 4. So it speeds up. So we have 4 more episodes left of Daredevil season 1, Born Again. We have not talked about last week's Crazy. Crazy has only been like less than a week away since Invincible finale,
Right.
which was just crazy with Mark versus Conquest.
Yeah.
And then what's it called? And then we have Saw 11 getting canceled. What's up with that? So we have some stuff to talk about. Some other movie news there, but those are the big stuff. So let's start off though with Daredevil. I'm going back and forth. Last week we started off with Invincible. Let's do Daredevil today because it's fresh in my mind. And I thought this week was a solid episode. There was a lot crammed in here. It wasn't as simple of an episode. I guess in hindsight, it kind of is a simple episode, but there was some like some stuff in here that's interesting to talk about, specifically with regards to Fisk. So I think we can separate this reaction, whatever we're doing, discussion between Fisk and what Matt is going through. Because I think by the end of the episode, both of their character arcs are kind of in similar places. They both trying to tread back into their darker halves by the end of this episode, which we kind of already talked about by the end of episode like 2 and 3 a little bit, where especially episode 3, where I said Fisk is getting back into his dark half after experiencing a loss in the public space in regards to losing the trial. Because he lost his trial, he had to resort towards darker means. And the way episode 3 ended, the way he invited like the one Uric daughter, I forget her name, just BB. He invited there. The way the show edited it was like he had the cop shoot White Tiger. Is that what happened, or was the cop just working on his own at this point?
I don't think we fully know who it was yet.
Okay. It seemed like some random cop with a Punisher tattoo. I don't think it was like some important person.
Probably. It was. I definitely think it is somebody on the police force because there's a lot of them. Repping Punisher.
For sure. It's definitely someone on the police force. But the way it was edited, it was just like, oh, he had to resort to his own means. But this episode comes along and the Punisher, Fisk doesn't talk about that shooting at all. It kind of moves on to another Fisk thing. So I'm like, maybe he didn't? But why did they edit it like that in episode 3?
I don't think I've considered that last week.
You didn't?
Honestly. I don't think so.
Okay.
I knew where Fisk stood on vigilantes altogether, so I'm sure it was just I kind of filed it under that anyway. It was just like he views it as an injustice. But also there's the running storyline of the cops that will lead to the confrontation with Frank later.
Yeah, that's true. I'm trying to send in my tweet. But so that was interesting. So yeah, Fisk, and you know me, I've had issues with the whole Fisk storyline in regards to him and Vanessa. And last week, I'm like, okay, what's the deal with him and Vanessa? Why are they so angry at each other? Or why is she mostly angry at him? Why are they going to these counselings? when did Fisk leave her? And this episode doubled down on more so finally unveiling like what they're talking about during these husband, wife meetings, whatever they're called, counseling thinking. And it was predicated on Vanessa saying like, you were gone. Like in your absence, I needed, Adam. And the whole Adam storyline, in my opinion, is just dumb and unnecessary. It's just not for me. I'm like, the Adam thing, it's goofy as hell. And it, spoiler alert, like it creates a goofy ending where Fisk is like torturing this guy. It's pure like comic book weirdness. He's eating food while this guy is like, let me out of here. Like it's some of the goofiest shit we've seen, especially compared to the Daredevil Netflix show where Fisk is just much more of a brutal person, but like, he just smash people's heads in with the door or whatever, which is also pretty goofy. But this one, I'm just like, I don't care about this whole Adam storyline. I have no idea what's happening here. Should I care? Should I not care? When was Fisk gone? When was Fisk gone?
I tell you every week.
The entire time.
I tell you every week. It was during Echo.
And
or Hawkeye.
It's so weird to me. Like, what, do you expect people to watch Echo before they watch Daredevil Born Again? Like, hey, Dad, go watch Echo before you watch Daredevil Born Again. Otherwise, you'll be confused as shit.
I mean,
because and maybe it's just me. Maybe the show just expects you to be like, okay, at some point, Fisk was gone. It doesn't matter when, he was just gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 7 years in between shows.
It has.
So naturally, there's a gap of information as is. It's not just the characters were exactly left where they were.
That's true. That's 100% true. That's a very fair point. But I feel like the time lapse hasn't exactly been like, if you could tell me Daredevil Born Again takes place a week after season 3, I wouldn't be surprised. Right? Like, what exactly changes?
I posed a question there, but if Coulson came back in Secret Wars, but it was like actual Coulson,
yeah,
do you expect people to watch all the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Not at all. And they shouldn't act like people should have watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on ABC at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday night.
Well, it's all seasons are bingeable now.
Yeah, sure. But it was a show that was on like ABC at a horrible time slot.
Maybe that was a bad example. What I'm saying is, look, man, this is the MCU.
Marvel should never pick people to watch their. I preface to say shitty.
We go into Multiverse of Madness. We have carried over info from WandaVision. Same with that.
We have, but even Multiverse of Madness, it was just like, oh, it has nothing to do with. Remember, he said it in the trailer. It's like, does this have to do about the whole Westview? No. Like, we're past that. Like, the movie you're trying to move past
they're moving past her crime, but then, like, her whole motivation is rooted in that. So, because if you go in and you didn't watch that, you're just like, who the fuck are these kids?
That's true.
Where's Vision?
Which kind of...
we know Vision died in Endgame, but, like...
Yeah. Which did affect my rating of Multiverse of Madness, the way that show kind of connected to Multiverse of Madness. It was kind of messy, in my opinion. But again, if I hadn't watched WandaVision, maybe it would be different, better or worse. I don't know. But yeah, it's just like the whole Vanessa and Fisk stuff is just treading water, in my opinion. We're 4 episodes in, and all we've gotten is the same, like, you were gone. Like, there's only so many times the show can, like, really hammer that home to me. Like, I get it at this point. It's kind of like, it's still kind of confusing, but also I kind of get it. Like, what else is there to mine from Vanessa's character? She's just treading water, which goes into my whole issue with the whole supporting cast in general. They're just not bringing a lot to the table. This show is really like lifted by Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox, who are delivering exceptional work. Charlie Cox is always exceptional. We'll get to his scene with Punisher. Peak. And Vincent D'Onofrio is so... It's interesting. He's gone through so many iterations of Fisk of the same character. Like Hawkeye, this is not the same Fisk from Hawkeye. It's just not. Granted, Hawkeye was a different tone of a show, so I don't care that way. He's not wearing his Hawaiian shirts or anything.
He's
but like, Yeah, true that too. But I think we talked about it in the past. I think that was Marvel trying to like go through the kinks of this post Netflix era. They don't
I
know
think
when Daredevil's coming out, so they were just going through it like off the shit of their pants or whatever.
they were like, I mean, it's already weird to keep the same actors if you are trying to change things up, but they were like doing like a hard right of like, let's go full comic with them. Matt is super agility, and Fisk is wide.
So it was kind of weird, but
Sure.
I don't really mind it. But again, Vanessa, for a character that I really liked in the original series, I want her to do some more.
Sure.
But what do you think about like this
Adam.
whole Fisk? What?
Adam.
You know, I mean, Adam is like, if the ending of this episode had him getting killed, I'd be like, thank God we can move past this. But he's getting tortured, so I'm like, what's the point?
The
But what do you think of the
duality of
whole Fisk storyline in general? This episode with him, again
being
having all
there.
these challenges with being a mayor
Yeah.
and talking to Daniel.
I think it was a great showcase of, it really does feel like he has been trying to play ball with the system. Obviously, he wants to make big change, which every politician makes that promise. But then, when you truly do get into the nitty gritty of like all the red tape, and like the red tape has red tape, and it's like, oh my god, like there's like the fact that they just break it down. Okay, where do we start? Okay, let's do that. Oh, okay, there's another thing. All right, let's start there. Okay, there's another thing. So that's step one. Okay, let's just start there. It's like, okay, wow, that is a gut punch of an experience, and then he has to go and do all the mundane stuff of just like making school appearances and stuff. And oh boy, that choir, that was funny. Yeah, I had to get the sped up guess. That was funny. Interview thing that I read, which was like apparently they had to do a lot of takes because the kids were actually too good at
I saw
singing
that
the
too.
song,
That's
so they had to keep like fucking it up. That's
I had to
funny.
get them out of tune, or out of tune.
Uh,
We built this city. It was a great gag. It was a good gag.
yeah, I do like seeing the showcase of Wilson on the verge of snapping, but like in the public eye, he very much cannot.
Yeah.
I do love the scene though when he does blow up at his whole cabinet of who leaked the information about the project. Which is a good stepping stone with the assistant character. I forget his name.
Daniel.
Yeah, that's a great showcase of a protege, almost like a son he hasn't had.
It's interesting. People have been talking about, again, me myself included, where like the supporting cast isn't like bringing a lot to the table. But I don't know if it's unpopular opinion, but I kind of don't mind Daniel. I think he's kind of coming away, in my opinion, unscathed in terms of supporting cast. He's a buffoon, but the show knows that. Like, he's a buffoon, but idealistic in regards to Fisk, which is an interesting character, especially in regards to his age. One of my main criticisms, I don't know if it's criticism exactly, because the show even discusses it, is like, how is Fisk in this position in the first place? Haven't they seen what he's done before? I know modern day, I know similarities, but like this guy is a criminal mob boss who had multiple trials about that. The police chief knows it, the commissioner knows it, so the media should know about it. But this guy's a bit younger. He's coming a bit younger, so he's a younger, idealistic character who probably didn't experience the weight of what Fisk was going through in the past as a crime boss, and now that he's coming back with a city that's not under siege, but like it's going down. Even like the people that love New York realize like this New York isn't as safe as it used to be. So for somebody like Fisk to come in and kind of swoop in, this person is kind of like a superhero to Daniel. And I like seeing that kind of perspective from a younger person compared to older people, again, like the police commissioner, who's a lot more older experience, been like, I've seen what you've done, and I don't like you. Seeing a character like Daniel, who is so idealistic, so believable in Fisk's policies, is so fascinating. I wonder if his rose-tinted glasses will break, per se, as he starts to discover Fisk's darker side, which I think is inevitable. I wonder if that'll eventually happen. But for right now, in terms of Fisk, like you said, working within the system, has continued to have this guy Daniel be more and more forward with his cause, of pushing Fisk's agendas. And we start off this episode with him kind of like leaking to to BB, which I didn't know was BB at the beginning of this episode. Like, who is he talking? Who are these people? I didn't know until like, cause when he told her like, okay, Fisk is doing this whole meeting with the unions of this greenhouse union, whatever.
Yeah.
She was like, doesn't he know that that's a union? Like, what's going on here? So I was kind of confused there. It wasn't until he told Homegirl, like, hey, this is on me, that I realized, like, oh, he kind of leaked something that he wasn't supposed to. I didn't realize the implication at first.
I was on a similar but separate path, which was like, I knew it was BB because I know they were kind of, for some reason, connectively texting back and forth. But when he was telling her about the project, I didn't realize it was a bad thing. I didn't realize
Me neither.
I was like, oh yeah, recycling, that's cool. Yeah, you're just promoting your boss. Big ups. Yeah, cool. But I guess it was like you said, the union thing. And
I guess he bypassed something he wasn't supposed to, or he told her something that Fisk was planning to do with the union, and BB got ahead of it, saying like Fisk doesn't actually like this, or he dumps on unions, he dumps on green, recycling, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But Nathan, I ain't never telling somebody, hey, this is actually me. Never. I'm taking it to the grave.
Not this motherfucker.
Like, this guy was like, so it was weird because he got the text. It was kind of like Succession, where
it did feel like Succession for a second.
Looked at the email like, oh shit. But like, he looks at his text, sees the newspaper about a leak that shouldn't have happened because Fisk hadn't had the meeting yet, even. So it was weird. And he tells her like, hey, this is me. And she's like, wait, what the hell? I'm just like, why would you say that? Because then Fisk starts erupting and saying like, I will find whoever did this. It's like, take it to the grave. I would never tell anyone. But it kind of works out for him in the end. So
yeah, it shouldn't have, but it did.
Not at all. Yeah.
Who are you more scared of, Wilson Fisk or Logan Roy?
Logan. Way more scared. Logan will eviscerate my entire career. He'll make sure I never work again. What?
Fisk might have you killed.
Fisk might have me killed. Yes. But like the way Daniel talked his way out to Fisk is more acceptable to that, oddly enough, than Logan, who gives zero fucks. He has no emotion. Logan would be like, I don't give a fuck. Actually, because you said all that emotional crap, you're even more fired. Fisk is like, oh, he was kind of moved by it. So oddly enough, Logan, not a more despicable guy than Fisk, because Fisk actually has a lot of people killed, obviously. But like Logan is a lot, less susceptible to that emotional crap. Even his own children, he was like, I don't give a crap about whatever's going on here.
But anyways. It is interesting, the course that Fisk is taking with Daniel. He seems to see something in him. Maybe it's because he was able to take the accountability for his actions, because his words does drive how loyal he is to Fisk. Maybe he does see something in that. Maybe he sees himself in him a bit. Definitely, I am kind of getting like father figure vibes set up.
Okay.
On this, especially like because they even like, the slight mention of events of Echo trying to take on a protege in the first episode of this season does kind of like have like a mirroring image of like, he tried to take on somebody, didn't work out, but like now there might actually be someone here that's more like aligned with who Fisk is, that he could actually.
Why is there so many Echo comparisons in this?
Because it's a fucking direct sequel, Evan. I'm sorry, it is. That said, though, I could definitely see a course of action where, even though Fisk has his father's rage, he killed his father, and he probably doesn't want to end up being like him if he is a fatherly figure. So I think that also aided in easing the blowback on Daniel, even though he did like say, you do this again, you're never gonna be heard from again.
Nathan, the last time we talked about a father figure was in Penguin.
Well,
how did that end, buddy?
When I was a boy.
Which was my practice episode. That was great.
Yeah, I was like double took for a second. I was like, did he say that? Does he still say
But Vanessa's like, fuck, not again.
Another one.
But yeah, it didn't end well in the end of Penguin. Spoilers, non spoilers, I don't give a fuck.
No,
Daredevil, I don't see Fisk actually like putting this guy in a headlock and be like, "Rah!" But I can see Daniel not being here for the long haul.
I see with like Fisk, I could see a guy who's like has not misguided, like he just has an alternate worldview that is a villainous, but he believes he's on the path of right. Whereas Oswald is just a psychotic narcissist and very like in it for himself all the way to the end.
Yeah.
True. I don't think he's gonna kill this man.
No, me neither.
He wouldn't kill Wesley. So I don't think
he wouldn't. He wouldn't. Yeah, he wouldn't. I miss Wesley, man. Wesley was the GOAT. The GOAT. The mother effing GOAT.
Didn't we lose him in season 1?
Season 1, episode what? 10? It was like there was 2 episodes after Wesley. I remember that.
Karen, right?
Karen. He put a gun in the middle of the table. What are you doing, Wesley? Wesley!
He didn't know she had that dog in her.
He didn't know she had a dog in her, but she did. It's Karen. Speaking of, there's something I want to talk about this on the show.
Okay.
We're at the halfway point, and we know this show is a mess in regards to like the pre-production, the whole rebooting the show. But the show said like, hey, we went through a darker path. Not darker. We went through a weird path. Charlie Cox didn't like it. John Berthal didn't like it. Vincent D'Onofrio didn't like it. But we got him back to show us a new direction, and they're all very happy about it. Halfway through the season, I'm still seeing a lot of glimpses of the old show. Like, the old show was predicated on, like, oh, this could be more so courtroom-based.
Mm-hmm.
Karen and Foggy aren't in as much.
Sure.
And it's going to predicate a lot of Daredevil not being in the suit as much. Am I missing something? This is the old show.
Well, Karen and Foggy weren't in it at all.
Karen and Foggy weren't in it at all. Karen's not in the show. She's not.
Well, yeah,
she's not.
Sure,
I've waited 7 years for the show to come back. Karen and Foggy are not in the show whatsoever. They were in the first episode for like 10 minutes, if that, 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I think just with probably just to save on cost because they were already in production.
1000% is the case.
Yes. Yeah, they did. There's a little blend, right? They did. Let's. Okay. Yes, they did some patchwork on the ends of the seasons.
Yes.
And a little middle with Punisher for sure.
And I don't want to continue.
Yeah. And so like they're probably just like, okay, we're gonna streamline our core story we had for the first season, but we're gonna tweak some stuff so that it flows well with the characterization of everybody. And once that's all laid and set, we'll be able to go into production season 2 full blown, like, okay, back to what everybody's expecting, and continue forward with that.
Which I'm curious to see what season 2 brings, because so far I don't really mind this old direction. The courtroom stuff, episode 3, was probably my favorite episode. I liked that kind of stuff. The fighting, on the other hand, the stuff that they wanted to bring back that wasn't theirs from the original draft hasn't been that well received. Like in terms of the whole Daredevil Punisher or Daredevil Bullseye thing wasn't the best edited and directed.
It's not as weighty, sure.
It's not as weighty. Even the first instance, even though again the emotionality of that scene is peak, the heart beating, the boom, like the emotions are great for the show in general. But the action scenes there, and then when Matt goes unleashed at the end of episode 2, it's still not directed great, but it's a bit weighty though. I like that bit more than the Bullseye fight at the beginning. So it's getting better, but like the fighting isn't the best in this show, and I feel like they wanted to bring that in more.
We might have
something.
We'll see. I imagine like their biggest fight is going to come toward the last couple episodes. So
I'll wait. Right? Yeah, I'll wait for my judgment there. But I think you're on the dot there, where I think a lot of this new direction is actually just the last couple episodes, like probably episodes 7, 8, and 9, or 6, 7, and 8. I forget how many episodes there are.
I think I might have heard recently that the next 2 episodes are like a functioning 2-parter.
Yeah, actually, I think episodes 5 and 6 are coming out together next week. I think.
Really?
I think that's the case.
Okay.
I think we're gonna double episode next week. Back to our Bad Batch days where every mid-season finale gets a double episode. But yeah, so, and I think given what John Bernthal was talking about his character, he wasn't really that much deep into it. I think we still had the Punisher storyline, or at least like the corrupt cop storyline, but maybe they wouldn't have used Frank. Yeah, they just wouldn't have used Frank, which would have been fine. But like now that we have Frank, elevated, of course. So that's where I'm curious to see, like, the second half of the season. I'm curious to see how it separates itself from the first half, which has been a big of a hodgepodge between stuff. Because so far this season, they're going over just like similar stuff. Yes, we get it. Matt and Fish are going down the dark paths. It's inevitable. So the end of the episode was appealing, but it wasn't really shocking to me. So I'm curious to see Matt put on the suit and do something with it. But so far, so let's dive into Matt's storyline here, where Fisk was, working within the system and has a lot of hurdles with the red tape. Matt working within the system, got a good case, did it, but then failed by Hector's unfortunate timing. He does see his daughter in this episode, which we talked about last week.
Yeah, her niece.
Her niece, his niece. Sorry. Which again, I still think it's very upsetting that the major Hispanic hero gone. But
there's another one.
There's another one, but it might not be. We say the same thing about like Captain America, Falcon Winter Soldier. It's like, oh, this guy's Isaiah Bradley's nephew, cousin, whatever the guy's name is, and he's never heard from again. Yeah. So we might never see her again.
That's one example.
Yeah.
Give me another. You can't.
Miss Marvel, season 1. She had a movie, but Miss Marvel is fair. Kate, where you been, Kate?
She's at the end of the Marvels.
At the end of the Marvels. Okay, cool.
She's with Shang-Chi in the Old West.
I still don't have faith in Cassie Lang. Is that her name? Where the fuck is she at?
Doomsday, Evan. Doomsday.
Sure.
They're all coming back in Doomsday.
Doomsday Electric State. That one. That's the movie.
I never saw Electric State.
Me neither. I'm not watching it.
I don't know if I saw the marketing.
Me neither. But so yeah. But now we see Daredevil, Matt, both struggling in the courtroom as well and outside of it with the whole Punisher stuff. So in the courtroom, he has like this one, person who steals some chips. I forget what they're called. Peanut butter, caramel, something.
Caramel corn. It was caramel.
Caramel corn, sure. And the guy was a repeat offender. It was an interesting scene. It really dived into like the cycle of what do you call it? It's a touchy subject. It's a very touchy subject.
Systemic oppression.
Systemic oppression, systemic cycles, where it's just like, oof, like. The easy answer is like, oh, well, he shouldn't have done it, right? Oh, well, if you weren't doing it, then why'd you do it? Like, right? You wouldn't be in trouble. You wouldn't be here if you just, you did the time, then you just did your shit right. But like, you do the time and it kind of ruins your life outside of it as well. And then you're stuck in this cycle and then you just do it time again and again. But then your sentence gets higher and higher because you did it. And just like, it's an unfortunate cycle that happens a lot of the time. And it was interesting seeing Daredevil like dip its toes into this issue. We know they've always been on to like the ACAB. Is that what they call it? All cops are bad thing.
ACAB, yeah.
And then like the whole police brutality angle. And we know again, we talked about it throughout this discussion of the series so far. Not all cops are bad because the commissioner was all like, "I hate you, Fisk," but there's definitely some people on the force who are very pro Punisher and pro like bad cops. Like they're all bad. There's some certainly bad cops in there. So the show is definitely diving into a corrupt justice system, systemic oppression, And it's something I didn't really expect. I admire the show diving into it. It's not delivering the most like complex material, but I kind of admire what it's again dipping its toes into here.
Yeah, totally. Um, yeah, I thought the showcase of the scene with the actor was really well done. Because you're very much on Matt's side at the beginning, just like, well, damn, you got it down to what, a week?
Right?
Nice.
Shit, that's good.
Instead of a month? Hell yeah. But then, you know, when you see the perspective of what he's already gone through, it's like, yeah, that's not great.
Not great at all. So yeah, what do you think about the whole so Matt's dealing with that, you know, the whole meme about him getting tons of riz. Like, man, you have a girlfriend. What are you doing?
He's not. He's just trying to get his client.
Yeah.
But yeah, he cannot turn it off.
Like, I could watch a fucking
rom-com,
presumed innocent not rom-com. I would that too. Like 6-hour miniseries of just Matt being a good lawyer. Like hell, I watched 5 seasons of Better Call Saul. Maybe I think it was 6. I don't know.
It's 6,
and 6, and I'm just like, man, guys, that shit is good. I don't need Daredevil in the suit. I like it though, but like Matt in the courtroom is just so much fun to watch.
It really is. That was that was like some fun I had with She-Hulk as well. Whenever they were doing lawyer stuff, I was just like, yeah, let me.
I agree. I agree. Like, you know, when shows dive into some courtroom stuff, it's tame, but it's very engaging. Yeah. You know, that's why a lot of like good prestige movies are based on like courtroom stuff. You know, last year's Clint Eastwood movie was surprisingly good. Juror number 12, 13, whatever the fuck.
I still have that queued up to watch. I really want to watch that.
It's pretty good.
You play a lawyer in my show?
Yes, I do. Based on Matt Murdock.
I'm just gonna be studying all the fucking Matt scenes.
Do I have as much riz as Matt? Maybe I need to be blind.
I hope so. Yeah, you're very electric.
Nice. But yeah, so then the big part of the episode though is Matt focusing on the whole Punisher angle. He goes full on Vincent D'Onofrio, not Vincent D'Onofrio. He goes full on Vin Diesel outside.
No, he doesn't. His made sense. He actually followed a trail to like the smallest clue. He didn't see.
What are you talking about?
He did not see a projection of a car flying in the exact spatial awareness. How did he do that? He smelled oil. I don't remember.
Was here.
We watched these in we watched this like 3 years ago.
Man, that scene is one of the best scenes in Fast franchise history. So good. We're talking. If people don't remember, we're talking about the scene in Fast. I think Fast 5.
Fast and Furious 2009, the 4th one.
Is it not Fast 5?
No,
I think it's Fast 5.
I think it's 4. It's 4 because
4 he discovers.
No, it's 4 because Mother's Milk from The Boys is the villain in that one.
Yeah, you're right. It's just very funny because he's doing full CSI bullshit for no reason.
Sees where Letty landed one.
Yeah.
But
regardless, we get to the point where he's looking for the casing in regards to Hector's death, and this is where he encounters Punisher. I think he just follows. He knows where Frank is living. Is that where he just kind of walked into Frank's lair? Did he already know Frank was living here?
I think so. I think he had an awareness of where he is active, so he went there. He decided to go there because he found the Punisher logo etched on the bullet casing.
Got it. Yeah.
So he made his way over.
So yeah, talk about this. Talk about the scene.
A phenomenal scene that as I was watching, I was like, I'm rewinding this immediately when it's over. Like, it was to the point where I was like, this is the end of the episode, right? Because even like, I was like, I don't usually do this, but I was looking at like the runtime left of the episode and said like 13 minutes, and I was like, this is it. This is the end of the episode, and there's going to be like 7 minutes of credits. This is going to be it. So when it ended and it cut to Vanessa, I was like, oh shit. I have to go back. Go back and watch it again because it's so well done. They're both phenomenal actors. Charlie Cox and John Bernthal are just phenomenal. Like, I know they've been playing this role for so long, but man, it just fits like a glove every time. Especially John. He just locks in playing Frank. He is so well in tuned with that character and his attitude towards the world based on what his character has gone through. I regret that I haven't seen his Punisher seasons. I know I heard 1 is better than 2, but I do definitely still want to check those out.
You haven't seen a single one?
I saw the first episode of season 1.
Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah, I fell off after Defenders for a lot of these shows.
So did the Netflix.
I mean, like, I heard Iron Fist season 2 was better than the first season.
Not a high bar, but I did hear that as well.
Sure.
Punisher season 1 was okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see Punisher season 2. But yeah, each season of the Netflix shows have like great actors doing just middling work. Besides Jessica Jones season 1 and Daredevil season 1, Luke Cage season 1, the first half was good. The second half of Luke Cage was not great. But yeah, I'm with you 100%. I think this whole Daredevil Punisher scene was really good, getting into the emotional complexities of what Matt is going through. The past couple episodes, he hasn't been able to utter Foggy's name. And seeing Frank, so casually, so brazenly bring up Foggy, which has been the heart of Matt's, depression and, regression. Going away from the character, always fumbling with his Daredevil horn has been predicated on what he failed to do in saving Foggy. So I think it's been really impactful stuff. Seeing Matt like get to tears was amazing. Hard to watch, but like really engaging and amazing to watch as well.
Yeah, he's breaking like at multiple points in the conversation, which I really admire. That showcasing for Matt. I think it's some of the most vulnerable we've seen him in the franchise. Not the most, but like amongst the most vulnerable we've seen him.
Yeah, season 3 was like all vulnerable Matt.
It was.
But yeah, but I'm with you. I'm with you. I think it was so necessary to see him so vulnerable and so like vulnerable and open with what he's truly feeling. Yeah, like it's about Foggy. He's been battling, especially with the recent loss of Hector, fighting within the system and his inner demons. Like the whole argument about Bullseye, about like, but he got life. Like, did Foggy get a life? Like, shit.
Those words
that hurt.
Back and forth are so good. Yeah, because he just shouts, if he got life, what about old Foggy? He get life?
Old Foggy.
Man, I was like, God, where's the Emmys? Where's everything?
Good shit.
God, it's so good. That is like the best writing I've heard in years. Every time Marvel has like a one poll.
Yeah, right. Remember the whole what the fuck WandaVision? The whole Theseus bullshit.
What is grief if not love persevering?
Yeah, that one too. Yeah,
this is the new one for me, man.
Yeah, it just hits deep, and again, it gets to the heart of what the series has to offer. Again, I think the emotion to the series has been really good. Again, the first episode with Foggy's death, Hector's, euphoria of being saved, but then the depression of being killed, and then this scene as well. Like this show has a lot of emotional highs. The writing for me might be a bit mixed to low, but the emotion has just been really effective across the board here. And this scene really depicts that in outstanding style. And we're not done with it either. Like, we're gonna get more Punisher in Matt next week, because while Punisher got to the heart of what's bugging Matt also got to the heart of what Punisher did as well, or what Punisher was refusing to say. Hey, like, Frank, this doesn't affect you. Like, there are people ruining your name. Like, it does. Frank might not admit it himself, but I think he'll finally, get to it next week.
What I was really amazed by is, like, you may not take the word friendship from this exchange, but I really did get like a deep caring side and vibe from Frank for Matt during the scene, just wanting him to like not pent up, the aggression he has inside. Like, because it gets to the point where Matt is bubbling rage. He punches Frank and immediately tries to apologize. Frank's like, what are you apologizing for? It's the first real thing you've done.
Yeah. I think it's a camaraderie. I would lean to camaraderie, friendship, sure. Because for Frank, even more so than like Karen, which I think he also has a deep connection to, I think he sees something in Karen that he sees like in his past, like family, a deep love. But for Matt, he's like a brotherhood where
Yeah.
Matt is really the only other person in the world for Frank that can understand his pain, that can understand this double life per se, even though for Frank's not really a double life, it's just his life. But like he can understand like the ability to, go after these criminals, go after the people that deserve justice. But they of course have that ideological difference, but that violence, Frank understands that violence that Matt goes through. And that's why Frank is so upset with Matt. He's like, I see that violence in you, Red, but you're putting up your own walls built on religion and built on the justice system that Frank does not care about. So it's very interesting. He definitely cares about Matt, like, just unleash him, Matt, because it's in you. And we've seen it. Like the violence is within Matt. He's scared to unleash it, and Frank's to really get into the heart of it. Like, hey, stop putting up these walls, dude.
Yeah, it kind of is almost like a full circle moment of like when they were like first, think back to that rooftop scene in season 2. Frank was like, I think you're one bad day away from being me. And
Woo!
Matt has had that bad day losing Foggy.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think
but he didn't become Frank.
He didn't become Frank, but I think the suppression of Daredevil has been. I mean, obviously, I think Matt has suppressed the proper grieving process of losing Foggy. Any support system with Karen is gone at the moment. And he is isolated with just like new people, but like he doesn't have that deep of a history as he does with Karen or
it's just
anybody else that he was with in the original series. And so he's at a point where he is just trying his best to suppress it. He doesn't want to be Daredevil anymore as well, but he is also clearly being presented. He is being failed by the justice system that he put so much faith in. That Frank calls out, that system.
Yeah. But it's interesting because while Frank is getting to the heart of what Matt's issues, and he's getting Matt to unleash some uncomfortable truths, it's still important to recognize that Matt's walls about like supporting the justice system, following his religion, that's still important. While Frank is getting to like, hey, Daredevil, hey, Matt, like, tell me the real truth. That's important. But it's also important for Matt to continue putting up those walls per se. Not to the extent that he's had this season where he's just refusing to become Daredevil. Because Matt, the healthy side is Matt finding that balance where you find justice during the day. And then if you can't, then you do your best at night. And even at night, you're not killing people. So
that is absolutely right. It has to be
that's really important.
Balance.
He has to have that balance.
That is the whole like core vigilantism really is like that healthy balance, like where the courts fail, Daredevil can be that nameless figure who can bring the true justice about. And Matt has to find his way back to that because at this point he feels like if he goes Daredevil, he's all consumed in the rage and violence of it, and maybe even falling to Frank's level of just blind murder, not blind murder, but
rage.
Yeah, and just executioner.
Yeah, I think that was just important to say because I see the people online being like, "Frank's right, Frank's right." I'm like, "Frank's right," but it's also we got to understand Frank's a little bit crazy.
Frank's right to a point.
Exactly.
Frank is in the right heart for Matt, but he is not. Matt should not become Punisher 2.
Yes.
He should be Daredevil and find that balance. It's always about that balance. Fuck justice. Fucking balance.
Yeah, which I think can be touched on deeper when they get into the action of it all next.
Totally, week. And that's what I love. Like after, Matt lets his tears out and he lets his walls down when he leaves. I love that lingering shot on Frank because he just looks remorseful for his friend. He doesn't look like angry, pissed off. He genuinely looks like saddened for Matt.
Yeah. Matt's going through it. So yeah, at the end of the episode, he talks to his girlfriend, which is, Matt. But we do see don't come on, Nathan. Come on, Nathan. Come on.
I don't look, we barely know her.
Say it, Red, say it.
But it's sweet.
Is it though?
He got laid.
He's always getting laid. But yeah, we see him, What?
He's got a marital problem.
but yeah, so then in the episode we see him like going across his multiple masks and go into his, I forget what the sticks are called.
Billy Clubs.
Billy clubs, yeah. Did Billy create those clubs?
I believe his name. I don't remember the maker guy's name. The stilt man.
But yeah, and then you see him practicing it out. It kind of teases the return of Daredevil, maybe.
Yeah.
And
on the other end, the return of Kingpin, in a sense.
Yeah, while he's eating that delicious looking dinner.
As weird as you do find that scene with Fisk, I do kind of get what they're going for.
I like it. It's weird, but I like it.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't want to say I don't like it. Yeah.
I think the fact that he has kept Adam alive to this extent, he probably already fucking kidnapped him before a couple of the sessions he had in therapy, and I think he is on a stepping stone of he's on that teetering point where, like, do I fall back in the old ways, or do I search for this forgiveness? Do I have the capability in myself to forgive Adam, but in like actuality it's forgive Vanessa, but also take accountability for like your lacking in this relationship as well.
Yeah. I think Fisk, it was just a big metaphor. Fisk keeping Adam alive in this cage is an example of Fisk keeping his darker self alive in this cage. It's just been behind bars, but it's ready to be unleashed.
Yeah.
And we're going to see what the repercussions of that is, as he also struggles to balance his true self. I'll be remiss to talk about, we do see another tease of Muse, who seems to be kidnapping people, homeless people, maybe, by the looks of it.
I kind of got the vibe, as dark as this is, but I could believe it. I feel like he is stealing victims' blood to use for his paint.
Oh, that's what he's using it for. Okay, I thought he was just.
That's why I assume. I don't think
he
he's
was just Nosferatu fan. He's on the movie. He was like, you know what, this is me.
Yeah, full vampire. Yeah, I don't know why that specifically, but like, I guess from a dark artistic perspective, I get it.
Yeah.
From his nature.
But yeah, that's Daredevil Born Again. Let me see if we missed anything else here. But okay, let's go into this Invincible finale.
Let's do it.
Season 3 finale. Luckily, this shouldn't be that long of a conversation because it was just a fight. But holy shit. Holy shit.
What a time. Evan.
What a time.
Now, I had already said, like, last week, man, look at what all the Marks did to the world already, and now we have a Viltrumite here. This is terrible. But also, it's a Viltrumite that is just so hell-bent on destruction and takes pleasure in it, because he is deranged, but it is interesting. The character of Conquest, when he does, later on, it is a big jump, but like when he does like let down his guard of like, do you know how lonely it is? Like, I have no friends. Everyone's scared of me.
Nathan.
And I don't even have a name. Like Conquest, just the actions I have. That's what they call me.
When I tell you that scene was extremely necessary for this episode, best scene in the episode, and like really elevated the episode, and shocked that it wasn't in the comics. I'm like, oh wow,
really?
Like that's kind of important. Like, granted, if I'm reading the comic book, maybe I'm just too hype-pilled to like really say how necessary it was. As an episode viewer, I felt like I needed that scene because, like, for me, it was just like Conquest beating Mark's ass.
Yeah, it's like, all right, we'll season 1 again.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's interesting. We're doing a lot of play-by-plays, and I say that, guys, like, my heart's beating the entire episode. I'm locked fucking in. I would have still gave this like a high 8 out of 10, but this episode with that scene made it like a 9 out of 10, like a 10 out of 10.
I saw like two course of actions. On the one hand, it'd be like, all right, we got a big fight, but Alan and Nolan are coming. We don't see them.
Nope.
And on the other end, I was like, okay, well now, and this is still a factor very much so, which is Mark is facing the Viltrumite once again. And obviously he had somebody to lose with his mother and Amber, but now it's like he has Eve and he has Oliver, and Oliver's in the fight. He's on the field, for better or worse, and it's all dangerous, and they both equally get hurt. Uh,
So it was just a lot that Mark was dealing with here. But I love that scene where he's talking about Conquest saying, like, yeah, I'm so lonely. Like, I love when villains talk about that shit. I love it when villains talk about like how lonely they are. Being a villain is not like a party, guys. It's not. You're not. I mean, sometimes like you get like your classic anime groups of villains.
Yeah.
Love those. But like the most iconic villains are just lonely to an extent, even if they are in an iconic like group. I think of Naruto as iconic villain groups there. But like
I love Loki.
What?
I love Loki.
Yeah, Loki, very, very lonely villain. And seeing Conquest talk about that, like, yeah, I'm lonely, but also like he loves what he does. It's a paradox where he loves what he does, but I don't even get a name. They call me Conquest. Like, oh shit!
It's like he literally has nobody to tell this to, so he was telling him he's just like letting out. And he's like, "Take it to your grave."
Yeah, I'm about to say, oh my god!
Hold up, his writing this fire.
That's raw as hell. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, peak. Like I was kind of worried because I'm just like, it's and even Robert Kirkman said like, how can I not? It's Glenn versus Negan round 2. Like that's very gimmicky. That's some Marvel bullshit. But like, it worked. It worked in spades here. Jeffrey Dean Morgan did a great job. I heard some comic book fans not liking it initially because they thought when they were reading it, they thought Conquest was an older person. They wanted to have like the older, gravelly voice, which I thought I hadn't seen the episode yet. But I was like, okay, that might be fair. But
mind you, Jeffrey Dean Morgan is an older man.
He is, yeah. He's like what, late 50s? I think maybe 60s. But either way, Jeffrey Dean Morgan did a great job. But take it to your grave, something like that, right? Like,
yeah,
man. That was so cool. That was so good.
That's good.
But yeah, this whole episode, man, seeing Mark struggle, one of my favorite episodes or favorite moments is when he's like, stop. When the animation goes off, when like Matt gets like pummeled into the next city, he's looking down on the ground, he starts bleeding out blood. The character animation is really on point for this like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's really good. He's just like, stop, please. And
wait.
And then Conquest pulls up. He was like, boy, what the heck are you talking about? I'm like, oh my God, what are we doing? He
stopped just to tell him there is nothing he can say. And
there is no talking. What are you talking about? And just starts pummeling him. And then you see Oliver come in and just try his best.
No.
Boom! He gets bitch slapped.
I wanted to believe there was some like latent Viltrumite strength about to pop out of Oliver, but no.
Oliver gets some good punches in.
Sure.
But yeah, it's not even close.
Evan, he's on the brink of ripping him in half.
That was so uncomfortable, Nathan.
It's very uncomfortable. This is a child struggling, and like you hear like he's describing like first your bones snap, and then it's the tear of the flesh.
Tear of the flesh, the muscles. I'm like, oh my God. And then seeing Mark having to lock in and protect Oliver, which was very important as well. Like this is a person that Oliver was constantly wanting to be invincible, wanting to follow invincible throughout the entire season. And seeing it come to a head here, I think was very appropriate as well.
Yeah.
Where Mark has to save his protege, save his own family at this moment. I think this episode really elevated itself by Mark having to constantly protect himself, try and be a good hero and save the world against this evil Viltrumite. And at the same time, protect his loved ones, care for his loved ones in Eve and Oliver, which are two big, addendums to Mark's storyline this season. In particular, his relationship with Eve and his relationship with Oliver were very much built up this season. And I kind of want to bring up the a lot of people gave a lot of shit to this IGN review. A lot of shit, with the whole IGN giving this finale like a 3 or something like that out of 10 or whatever. And I'm just like, guys, and I really like that review person. I forget his name. He's like, it's like some kind of like Indian, name. But he does offer some good reviews in the past at IGN and other places. People were just giving him shit, and I didn't say anything because I'm just like, Invincible fans, anything less than a 10 was like, oh my god, what are you?
Low though.
It was low. It was low. I completely disagreed with it, but I respectively disagreed with it because I think he said something along the lines of like a great fight, but it didn't connect to the larger themes of the show of the season, and it didn't connect with Mark's arc this season. And I'm like, oh, that's an interesting take. On one hand, I can kind of see where he's coming from, where it's like I've been talking about Mark's hero arc this entire season, where Powerplex on top of the Invincible War was all about Mark struggling to come to terms with his own villain legacy with his dad, offer condolences, reflect more in the past. This fight is a character we've never seen before, brutally beating up Mark and going through the same Nolan notions. But I think what elevated this fight and what connected it to the season at large is his connection to Eve and Oliver. Mark's need to protect Oliver really was a good culmination of Oliver's kind of like agency to follow Mark this season. I love that scene with Debbie, where he's like talking to Debbie beforehand. I think that was very important as well. And then Eve as well, Mark's loved one, who Mark was so scared of leaving Eve during the Invincible War. Yet, when the roles were reversed and Mark's on the defense, if you're getting his ass kicked, Eve immediately leaves, which I thought was very important as well. So I think that relationship, both of those relationships were very important throughout this fight, even if there were some similarities to season one. So I think this has some solid, not the best, but like solid thematic connection to Mark's arc this season. I still think his hero arc is just growing. I mean, that's just the case as a superhero in general. I constantly was talking about how Mark has to find that balance between what Cecil said, being a good person and, the other one, being a good person and what was the other thing that Cecil was saying?
Or being a good person, being someone who could save the world.
Someone can save the world. Yeah. Those are two different things, or those are two things that Mark has to balance that I think it's just still in progress. While it didn't really culminate this season, I'm fine with that lingering on into season 4. But yeah, this whole Viltrumite thing, Mark was really the only person that could handle it with Eve, and man, seeing them together at the end really culminated in like how beautiful couple as well as how powerful of a couple they are.
I really love Eve's fight. I like that her powers were like a great showcase. I was a little worried at first, but then like when she locked in, it was like I changed the fucking atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm like, where was this Eve at? Come on, like stop with the shield and stuff. The shield meta gotta go. The shield meta has to change.
She put on the armor, and I was like, that won't.
But it's gonna give you like 2 seconds of like defense, but that's just 2 seconds.
Which, in fairness, I'm like, all right, cool, that's enough to like replenish it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the course of action there, but like every snap of a bone was felt.
Humans are so fragile.
They are, even when they are super powered. My God. But yeah, Eve locking into the fight, that was very compelling. But like, I think didn't he like fucking rip off her jaw a little?
Yeah, he like uppercutted her, and like half her face was like gone. I
was quite worried, Evan. I was quite worried at a point seeing that, because I was just like, her organs were spilled out. How do you bounce back from this?
Yeah, like he impaled her. And I'm like, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, Jalen's like, there's no way that's her. I'm like, maybe she talked to Cecil and this is like a robot Eve or something or whatever. And I'm like, oh no, this is actually Eve, and we're in danger. And Mark's words, the dialogue, guys, dialogue is peak comic book lovely. He's like, you won't live to see past tomorrow. Or
I've seen the future. You don't live past tomorrow.
That's baller. Come on. Man. That's so cool. And for someone who's getting their ass kicked to say that, like, come on, that's so cool. I love Mark. I love Mark. He was standing on business. But yeah, he says those words to Mark that we talked about earlier. Mark kind of punches his fist off.
His gauntlet, punches through it, like fully breaks Mark's hand. Yeah. I really like how savage Mark went into the fight, because at this point he has to be like, he's being like held by Conquest, so he just fucking has to bite his jugular. shit
Yeah,
like that.
it was amazing. But then
it-
Conquest still was going to win until Eve unlocked.
Totally. Which at that point I saw that and I was like, well, bye, Conquest. So I don't
Game over, man.
game over. Absolutely. I wonder if Eve will ever reach a point where she can access that at will.
I hope not. That's
That
too
would be
powerful.
sure.
That's
It
too
would be.
powerful.
It
Like
would be, yes.
you can
But
just like she would turn into like what's that one guy in Watchmen? Just like zap.
oh
zap.
yeah, Dr. Manhattan for sure. Maybe just like a limited time.
Yeah, but because it's interesting because I think she's still powerful without that
Oh yeah.
disabled. But yeah, like this was definitely
She's definitely gotten far more creative with her power set. I mean, I think like it is a testament to showcase that like the fact that she is like studying architecture and whatnot, that she is building herself up to be a better hero in crafting not just these energy beams and whatnot, but genuinely like all facets of her abilities. And like, yeah, breaking into the science of being able to change the density of the air to give yourself a better chance of fighting somebody this powerful. Like it's very, very compelling stuff. And I think it is like a stepping stone to not reaching the full omnipotency that she does at the finale here, but like damn close to where like she is going to be like one of the most unstoppable here. Dare I say, invincible.
Yeah, it was so amazing. So cool to watch that happen there. And the Conquest just got obliterated, like atomized for a second there. But he still was alive, guys. He still was alive.
Once again, with the Angstrom Levy of it all, how are they alive?
How are they alive? But then Mark just like laughing maniacally as he pounds his head in. Wow.
Is he laughing?
Like, I mean, yeah, I would say
he's laughing.
Mark was. As he kept beating his head in, he was like, "Oh, come on, Conquest!" You don't think he was laughing there? He was kind of like giddy and like.
I have to watch it again. There was a lot going on.
There was a lot going on. He's like, "Come on!" Like, boom, 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 boom. It's like, why aren't you talking now? And then, like he said something to Conquest, like, "Why aren't you talking now?" And Conquest is like, his last words were, like, you win some, you lose. Not win some, you lose some, but just like, you know,
take the good with the bad.
Yeah, take the good with the bad, which is another great line. And then Mark continues to beat his head in. Fast forward, Nathan. This guy is still alive. This guy's Cecil! What are you doing, Cecil?
I get it. I'm not saying I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying from the perspective. So we know that there's only like 40 Viltrumites.
Yes.
Cecil doesn't know that. So if you can get like 1 out of the billion, probably you anticipate to come to try to get some form of an answer to help prepare, I understand.
I don't understand. Kill his ass.
How? What are they going to do? Throw him in lava? Mark's immune to that.
Well, if you're dead and get thrown in lava, I mean, if you're that like incapacitated to get thrown in lava, Mark's not immune to that. You can't just wake up like, oh, okay, I'm reborn now. Let me just
but this is a full strength Viltrumite, one of their strongest. Like,
sure.
What could we
wake
really
up, Mark, and tell him to go for the head, cut his head off. Goodbye, you're dead.
Honestly,
Mark,
you should probably
killed a couple of Invincibles in the Invincible War. They're not that hard to kill.
Yeah, but they're still also like half species, aren't they? I don't know. I don't know how Viltrumite blood works. But that being said,
he could be killed. He could be killed.
Sure. Lock him in a sound room with that sound that incapacitates Mark and just like 24/7 that shit.
Or just cut his head off and kill him. Mark's not going to be happy when he wakes up. That Conquest is just going to laugh. But anyways, so yeah, Angstrom Levy is still alive. Apparently. Doing some stuff. Conquest still alive. What else? Oh, end of the episode. I love the emotional aspects of it all between Eve and Mark. The relationship is very wholesome and beautiful. I love them so much. They really are a true family. Love it.
I don't know what's up with so very lovely Eve transferred Mark's clothes off. But then when they're on the floor, they started like oozing this like neon goo.
Great point. I forgot about that. What does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean? Is that an effect of Eve's power? Does she unlock something that she wasn't ready for?
Is that I don't know.
That would be interesting to explore. Again, I have not read the comics further.
You neither. Are you going to between now and season 4?
No, I don't like to. I like to have the surprise.
I think I'm too far in, but like this show, given my comic book friends who read Invincible, they're like going to be 7 seasons. I'm like, oh boy, like I don't think because like the Viltrumite War is happening. I think they said next season, which I don't think is a spoiler to say, but like the Viltrumite stuff is going to happen next season. Okay, but then they said there's like 3 volumes after that. I'm like, okay, wow.
Even to that point, there's I forgot the character's name, the demon character, played by Clancy
Devil,
Dark. Darkwing Duck. That's right.
Yes.
Darkhorn or something.
Yeah, y'all know who we're talking about.
Yes,
the devil guy from hell.
Apparently, what they're doing there is an original story.
It's an original storyline. So I'm like, damn, y'all really padding this show out.
I respect it.
I respect it. Cool for me. Like a new Invincible show every year until like 2030. Cool.
Give me more specials if you can. The one-off episodes.
Give me that. People kept on telling me before Rex died that like he had special worthy stuff. So I guess is that in future volumes? I'm confused.
I don't know. We should mention Rex has a funeral.
We should mention that. Invincible, you should remember that too. Invincible, shit, wasn't looking that depressed.
But
yeah, it was a sweet funeral.
It was sweet, very emotional. Eve could hardly utter any words. Robot was giving a beautiful eulogy. He ended up taking Rex's name in his honor.
Yeah.
Which full circles the season 2 finale when they all came to rescue Mark on that alternate timeline. Because they called him Rex, but it was Robot in a suit.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, so that was a very sweet funeral. It was weird. It was jarring that Mark was like more like in line with what Eve, but I get it. Like Mark loves Eve.
He felt remorse for what Eve was feeling. But then also later when she was like, "Are you smiling?" and he's just like, "I genuinely thought I was gonna lost you, and I can hardly believe that I can see you in front of my eyes right now."
Yeah, which is very sweet. But yeah, in general, just Rex was an outstanding character this season. The season as a whole is just outstanding. Oliver's storyline was great. The Rex storylines were great with Rex and Ray. Nathan, I lose you there? You good? I think he's coming back. But the Rex and Ray stuff was great. Oliver was great. And I loved a lot of the different arcs this season, especially the first couple episodes between Mark and Cecil was really strong as well. You're back. The Mark and Cecil stuff was really strong. I think this season as a whole might be my new favorite season. I just loved a lot of the core aspects and how romantic it all was.
I agree. I really love what we have here. I'm excited to further explore the relationship between Mark and Eve moving forward. Just deepen the strength of it as we pull forward. I'll be intrigued to see how Oliver fares in developing further. I'm hoping that, I don't know when, but I'm hoping Nolan will come into their lives again soon enough, and I want to see Nolan's parenting to Oliver being in like the state of reforming.
That's gonna be so interesting. Yeah, I'm dying to see that as well. Nolan and Alan coming in, really forming like an anti-Viltrumite union.
I fully expect, and it's going to be like my eyes locked onto the screen when it happens. Whatever the scene between Nolan and Debbie will be, because I assume they would definitely share a scene again.
Ooh. That's gonna be emotional as hell. So that's
very Paul exciting. Would be okay.
What?
I hope Paul would be okay.
Yeah, Paul survive this, please. I like Paul.
Can't say that in the Marvel universe, but I can say that here.
Right? What's in the Marvel universe? Who's Paul Rudd?
Marvel editorial doesn't like Peter and Mary Jane to be together, so Mary Jane is with this guy named Paul.
Oh wow, interesting. Marvel editorial, you suck. Thank God we have Ultimate Universe.
Exactly. That they recently made a statement. It was like Peter and MJ can never be married. They can end up together again, but they can never get married. It's they equated it to something like some other hero is like you wouldn't, this so and so wouldn't do. It's like putting Peter and MJ as a married couple is like taking the church out of Daredevil. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Makes no sense.
No.
Lois and Clark can do that for decades.
Yeah.
Peter and Mary can't. Why? Makes no sense. Just
We got
before
the Ultimates, baby.
we keep babying Spider-Man. Oh, high school Spider-Man again. There's only so much high school Spider-Man.
How many new readers are you really getting that are like, oh yeah, the Peter Parker, he's just like me, living with his multiverse friends? Stop.
No, stop it. Yeah, just grow him up. Grow him up. But yeah, but we also got a lot of teases. We got War Beast, is that his name? Whatever.
Battle Beast.
Battle Beast. War Beast. Battle Beast is still alive. He was just chilling in space. That was very funny.
Somebody was resharing the scene in the first season of Invincible where your dubstep guy.
Yeah.
He how he hired Battle Beast. People were like, how the fuck did he hire him?
Yeah, how did that work out? You work for me now. God. So good. So good. The alien mind control people are in the sewers. That's not good.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's gonna be a storyline, and that's gonna be an episode probably. What else? Battle Beast, sewers, Eve going crazy. Not going crazy, but leaving behind some residue.
Yeah.
Am I missing something that they tease a lot? But yeah, that's all I can remember.
Conquest in the basement.
Conquest in the basement was big as well. Yeah, and Angstrom Levy's still alive, but we don't know what might happen there. Right. Overall, fantastic season. Fantastic season.
Totally.
I'm here for new Invincibles every year. They just confirmed today, as of this recording, Invincible coming out sometime in 2026. I assume same time, same place.
Yeah. Season 4 voice recordings already done.
Already done. So that's exciting. That's very exciting. So let's move on to some other movie news. Before we get into the Saw stuff here, going through my past week stuff, Glenn Powell working with Barry Jenkins. Did you hear about this dude? No. Glenn Powell, one of my favorite working actors, Twisters, Top Gun, working with Barry Jenkins on a sci-fi film called Natural Order at Universal. Universal is really good at getting they got a great deal with what's it called? Jordan Peele. Great deal with Christopher Nolan. Yeah. Even M. Night, I think, right, has a deal with. I think they're doing M. Night in Universal now. I think Universal also working with Blumhouse Entertainment. So Universal really getting these original sci-fi horror pictures here that a lot of studios just aren't doing anymore. Yeah. You got to respect Universal, especially on the heels of WB just floundering their great talent that they have there.
Yeah.
But anyways,
they just had Wicked.
Right? Yeah. Universal was Wicked. Very smart there. But yeah, described as a elevated sci-fi thriller revolving around the pursuit of eternal life. Again, this is Glenn Powell with Barry Jenkins. Barry Jenkins coming off of Mufasa, but that's definitely one of the cases of one for you, one for me kind of thing, where he came off of Moonlight, which is one of my favorite movies ever. And then If Beale Street Could Talk was also incredible. And then people said Barry Jenkins' Underground Railroad was also very cool. But now we see Barry Jenkins after Mufasa. He says he's not going back to that. We get it. But him working with Glenn Powell, a rising star, on a sci-fi thriller, probably another big budget movie, original sci-fi thriller. This sounds cool. This sounds really cool. I love original sci-fi. Really, really cool. The Greek media reportedly has some casting updates for Christopher Nolan's Odyssey here as filming gets underway. We already knew Matt Damon was playing Odysseus. Tom Holland we knew was playing Telemachus. Hopefully I didn't butcher that name. Telemachus. I always pronounced it as that.
You said it with the quickness, so I believed you.
I took a lot of Latin class. I always was like Telemachus, Telemachus. Anyways, Telemachus is Odysseus' son who's on the search for Odysseus. we didn't know who would play Athena. Athena is like one of the only gods willing to help, Odysseus to get back home, and she is constantly helping Telemachus. And we all thought Athena was going to be like Charlize Theron, maybe. Mm-hmm. No, Athena, according to the Greek media, is Zendaya, Tom Holland's girlfriend. So it's like soon to be wife. And congrats. It's just like wow, getting Tom Holland and Zendaya as like a duo in your next big budget movie. Yeah. Awesome. That's really cool. Charlize Theron, as it turns out, is playing Circe, which keeps Odysseus on Circe's island, that kind of thing, for months on end. Penelope, the wife, played by Anne Hathaway. Very smart. I think that was already theorized as well. Benny Safdie, why don't we build another bomb?
Someone builds a bigger bomb.
He's playing Agamemnon, a villain in the story. And Lupita is playing Clytemnestra, which is another, I think, antagonist. I gotta be honest, I forget those names.
Is this maybe the most star-studded Nolan cast?
We said that about Odyssey, or we said about Oppenheimer, but it could be.
Sure, but like, I mean, in terms of like the top headliner talents, man,
is really cool. Percy Jackson officially renewed for season 3 at Disney Plus before season 2 airs, guys. So season 2 has been confirmed to air December 2025. Walker confirmed at the Emmys, Children's Emmys, which, by the way, Percy Jackson dominated the Children's Emmys, winning 8 Emmy Awards.
They have Children's Emmys?
They have Children's Emmys for like animated shows and
the Nick Choice Awards.
Not that. Nick Choice Awards garbage. Children's Emmys are like for childhood programming, basically.
Okay.
PG related stuff.
Sure.
And he confirmed there that like they will be filming season 3 prior to season 2 coming out. So season 2 comes out in December. Season 3 probably, Mark or Walker said like, and his mom confirmed that Walker's back at school right now. So Walker's at school, waiting on other projects, but like hanging out with family and friends on the off season here. But like I assumed, what?
You think he's homeschooled?
Probably a mix. I would be surprised if it's full on like come to class on Monday through Friday.
Right? I think he definitely has like friends and a social life, but like, dude, you're Percy Jackson now.
Right? Like you're locked in for a decade now, dude. You got the Tom Holland contract. You're stuck. You're stuck with us.
That Daniel Radcliffe.
Right? So yeah, I think they'll be filming season 3 probably around August, but Titan's Curse is my favorite of the Percy Jackson books. Titan's Curse is just a darker turn. It really is the Prisoner of Azkaban for Percy Jackson series. Ooh. Percy and Annabeth. And this is very interesting because all the way back in season 1, we already knew how different Titan's Curse was going to be because Rick Riordan, the writer, was so ecstatic about Annabeth. Casting Leah as Annabeth was such a great casting. And he said, I'm going to add a lot of scenes of Annabeth in season 3 because she's not in it that much. Season 3 is about Percy with new characters. I don't want to spoil who, but like, I'll say it, like Percy and Talia Grace. Talia is going to be introduced in this season a little bit. And Talia al Ghul, no. Actually, Walker says Thalia because it's Thalia. Growing up, I always say Talia. I thought the H was silent, but Walker said Thalia, and I'm like, what is it? But I'll forever say Talia. I'm never going to say Talia because I grew up on Talia al Ghul as well on the Batman animated series, so I was just like, oh, Talia. But like her and Walker are going to have a relationship, not a romantic relationship, but they're going to have like a duo season 3 while Annabeth is like going through it, I would just say, in that 3rd season. But like she's because it's a Percy Jackson book, they don't flip over to Annabeth's chapters. It's not Game of Thrones. So she's not in it that much, but we know already that she will be in it more than what the book had to offer. But either way, people are excited for season 3. There's like 10 to 12 new major casting updates for season 3 alone. So this summer on this podcast, I would just be going off for all these additional casting that I can't wait to see here. What else real quick before we move on? Daisy Ridley and Alden Ehrenreich doing a rom-com together called The Last Resort. A woman who travels to the Philippines to scout for a new resort meets a charming pilot played by Alden Ehrenreich, whose character name is Ben, traveling around the globe, traveling around the country. So people are like, we've always wanted our Daisy and Adam rom-com. We're getting Daisy and Alden, which is great. Ben's dad, amazing.
That's weird.
Character's name is Ben. Like, this is weird. This is crazy, but
my stupid time travel brain hurts.
Right? But I love Daisy being in a rom-com. Like,
oh yeah,
great. Like, we need Daisy and Adam Driver to be back in more rom-coms. But Daisy hasn't done a lot of rom-coms. Adam already has. But like,
what's Adam got coming up?
What does he have coming up? I don't know.
He did Megalopolis, and he was like, that's enough.
Yeah. He needs to be, hanging out with his. He's been working so hard. He's like, I'm gonna be on a break. It's like he had a kid. It's like, aren't you on a break, dude? Like, you just had a kid and stuff.
Should have been an Oscar winner.
This guy is constantly working, which I love it. Yeah. Colin Farrell is in talks to star as Sergeant Rock in Luca Guadagnino's Sergeant Rock movie for DC. This is Elseworlds, I think. It's either Elseworlds or it's in the main DC universe. But either way, it won't be in the same world as the Penguin, so Colin Farrell can do that.
Yeah, even if it was like Colin Farrell looks so vastly different as Oswald, really, there's so many people who are like, "That's Colin Farrell." You see, it wouldn't like bother anything.
Exactly. So that's really cool. Not much is going to be said about that movie, but Luca Guadagnino working for DC. We already knew this was happening. Originally, it was going to be Daniel
Craig,
yeah, but that fell off. And now people are like, Daniel Craig was never in the position. It's like, yeah, I think he was. But either way, he fell off. John Bernthal reveals the Punisher special from Marvel is visceral, psychologically complex, unforgiving, no holds bar version of Frank. And he is executive producing and he pitched it. So he's very excited for it as well. Nothing is easy and all violence has a cost. We're going to see that cost in that special.
Right on. I like that. I imagine they're going to probably get to shoot it now because they're shooting season 2 right now of Daredevil.
I agree. I'm with you. I'm right on board with that. I think, shoot it now. That way season 2 and the special can come out next year.
Yeah. Even if if it's just a special, you might even be able to get a team to just it's like basically the size of one episode.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would be this year, but like
it could. Theoretically, it could, yeah. What else real quick? Monarch Legacy of Monsters season 2 is wrapped filming. I showed you the image. There's an image online, it just showcased like the last scene from season 1. But with the escape pod thing, I'm so excited. This show was like started off like, what is happening? But then this show got so good towards the end.
I really love the characters. They're the best characters that the Monsterverse has spawned. Like, like humans I actually care about for the first time in this realm. And also, I got to know why the fuck the dad made 2 families.
Yeah, we got to know that. we kept asking that for like the last 3 episodes, and the show wasn't answering us. Like, what happened here? Talk to. What,
do you think they'll just gloss over and they'll just be like, but look at the good that's come together?
Probably. And knowing the show, okay, cool.
What's Colin doing?
But like, I think now that he's in the present day, it's like, they're gonna have some questions. I love this show, man. So that's gonna be exciting. A new Power Rangers show is happening on Disney Plus with the creators of the showrunners from Percy Jackson. Jonathan Stenberg and Dan Schatz will serve as showrunners for a new Power Rangers. They did live action, which is like all Power Rangers live action, but Disney era Power Rangers, dog, peak, cooked. Dino Thunder, peak. SPD, good. Time Force was good back in the WB64 days, but Disney had some solid. Dino Thunder was great. Ninja Force was great. Literally like 2 years during COVID, my friends and I just binged Power Rangers on Netflix during COVID, and we're like, yo, this show still rocks. And I still love the 2017 movie a lot. Yeah. So I'm like, hopefully it hits a good tone. Like, you can make it all ages, of course, but like, you don't have to make it too kiddie. You can do what the movie did by making it like more relatable, down to earth, and emotional, and still have like the fun, gimmicky stuff. People are like, hey, if it's not Sentai related, the Sentai Ranger stuff, then I'm not watching it. But I'm like, the Disney era stuff was still very good, and it had like no Sentai Ranger connection, because people don't know, like, the American version of Power Rangers had a lot of the like Sentai Ranger
It's like
stuff.
a lot of like reshot
Yeah,
stuff.
it was just reshot. But like the Disney era stuff with none of that related was still very good. So I'm excited for this. A new Power Rangers is always gonna be very fun.
Right
But
on.
lastly, let's talk about this Saw 11. Let's talk about it. What do you think here?
You say the worst news for last.
I know this is our last one, but you got to rip the Band-Aid.
So, like the official word is canceled.
Canceled. Keep on talking about it. I'm gonna pull up the article.
Totally. I think it was supposed to come out September of this year. But then I think I also hear the article say like it's been canned like upwards of almost a little over a year ago.
It's like January 2024 is what they're saying.
I don't believe
Saw
10
you. Saw 10 came out in 2023, right?
It did late 2023, like September, right?
Yeah.
And then it wasn't too long after that they announced Saw 11, maybe even 12. But
after the commercial success of Saw 10, like a month later, Lionsgate said, "Boom, Saw 11 coming out September 2024." Obviously, it didn't happen, but
yeah, I don't get it. Now, I know Tobin Bell is getting up there in age, but I don't believe he wouldn't be game for this. I think he's still active. He is still active. He does like music stuff on his YouTube and such.
Yeah, he is very active. Yeah. Sorry, go
off. I don't get it, because this was, I think we agree, not only personally but like critically, is like some of the best the Saw franchise has been. We think it is the best entry they have. That extra half hour really did magic.
Really did magic. This movie is like, what is it, hour and 45 or hour and 50?
Yeah, it is.
Like, it's just it's not 90 minutes anymore, and it flew by, and it was character rich and
character driven on like the biggest person you come to see the movie for, Jigsaw. It's about him, and it's phenomenal. And apparently the sequel was supposed to be like
with my guy. What was his name? The
Hoffman. Hoffman, Amanda, John Kramer. I heard it was supposed to be. I heard it was supposed to be an angrier story following once again the perspective with Jigsaw. Oh, I heard that as well.
And it's so unfortunate, but in the article says here it's a story as old as time, where the actors are they're actors, but it's a producer issue. According to the source, everything went sideways in January 2024. The producers started fighting. One producer attempted to plow forward with the film. The other put up roadblocks, stifling Saw 11's issues. So two producers butting heads. Lionsgate, the company, they can't really do much. Lionsgate didn't have anyone to help smooth over the disagreement. As it stands, there's a number of plot threads left to tie up, like we just talked about. The insider notes that the franchise might sell somewhere else, but it will likely start over if they did that.
No.
So the article, this is just from one source, from Bloody Disgusting. Bloody Disgusting, though, is very reputable when it comes to horror scoops, in particular. But yeah, all we have is just like two producers couldn't get along.
God, that doesn't sound like it would be enough, man.
It's so unfortunate. Like, man, like the source says like greed and ego won. Very dire.
I don't.
It's so unfortunate, because the Hoffman storyline, the Amanda storyline, stuff that we were talking about during our commentaries. We're like, Hoffman and Amanda are going at it, but the movie's never really dived into it.
They were like putting even like deeper development in Amanda being a survivor of addiction, when seeing like the empathy in one of the victims, while also Jigsaw saying like, Amanda, at some point I am going to be gone, and I believe you will be ready for that. But we know by Saw 3 she's very dependent on John, and I love seeing further development of that.
John testing her, so that was really good. And seeing Amanda in Saw 10, she was an astounding supporting character. She did really good work there.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see what Hoffman could do at the end of that as well, what they teased. So it's very unfortunate. I think Saw is one of the most like bewildering, surprising horror franchises. Again, you hear me say before, I was not excited for Nathan to put a gun to my head and have me watch 9, Saw, movies, but I did, and they were surprisingly fun. There were some episodes where like Saw 4 was, what are we watching?
Even when it got low, we were like having a blast.
Having a
we were
blast.
like, holy shit.
Saw 4 was that transition.
They threw someone in a transition through a window to a whole other room, and it was practical.
It was practical. It was crazy. Even the later ones, the weird like modern Saw movies, like what was it? Jigsaw? What was it called? Or
Jigsaw, yeah.
Was kind of messy, but like the Chris Rock one was fun. Like there was just some messy entries, but there also had some fun to it as well. It's a weird franchise, but like
now if you could just have this open-mindedness when I show you more terrifying movies.
I was hoping you forget that, Nathan.
I will never forget, and we're starting next week, guys.
No, we're not.
All right, but
we're not. So, we got to do Accountant 2 and Found Destination coming up.
We absolutely do. That said, I don't see how you could go the reboot route for Saw. Like even when they did something of that vein, like Spiral, it was still like, no, yeah, Jigsaw and all the things that happened. Here's a picture of John Kramer on the wall. Like they can't leave it behind. Like Jigsaw is synonymous with Tobin Bell.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. Like some franchises have to die. I was hoping like it would be after Saw 11, because Saw 10 was so good. I mean, I would contend for the franchise to die in general, but like Saw 10 was surprising. Like, okay, actually they can do some more.
It is impressive how much mileage they got.
Yeah,
because Tobin Bell dies in the third one,
right?
And they, at least in the main series, went up to 7. And then they did Jigsaw, and they're all ended up having to be like prequel stories. But the fact that they're able to get so much, and the fact that in continuing to do that, they made the best one they have with the most recent one, Saw X. You think like, okay, yeah, let's fucking go. Let's do more while we can. Which it's unfortunate to say, but like he likes doing it too. It's not like he's getting tired.
Exactly.
Like, he's all for it.
So in there, I don't want to completely say like it can't happen. Right now I'm thinking like they could bring a new actor, could bring some interesting juice to it. It just wouldn't be the same. But
I mean, you could do the Jigsaw angle, but just like, or I mean the Spiral angle, but like make it
better,
more well written.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. So there is an out for that, but it is again unfortunate that the storylines and plot threads from Saw 10 might not ever come to fruition. Because man, what a great franchise, messy but fun franchise. So yeah, moving forward though, I think we finished our Andor commentaries, and I want to move into stuff that's coming out soon. So like The Accountant 2 is coming out by the end of April. So we spun the wheel and we got The Accountant months ago. So The Accountant is coming up. Found Destination, I really want to get those watched as well.
When is that out?
Found Destination is May 22nd.
God, that's soon.
Or like the middle of May 15th, actually.
We gotta start now.
So we gotta start. Yeah, we have five movies. 5 movies. 5 movies, so 5 weeks. We have time. So yeah, Accountant 2, Into Found Destination. So yeah, we have. If you guys watch our commentaries, Nathan has a whole playlist of a lot of our entries. So please go watch those.
A lot of our most specific genre we've done is horror. We have a lot of horror.
A lot of horror. Paranormal Activity, Saw, the Alien franchise, Predator franchise. So
Evil Dead.
So go watch those. But yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at Harris EV9. Talking all things Star Wars, Marvel, comic books, all that kind of stuff, anime. They recently announced a new Dr. Aphra comic coming out in June. I've been waiting for an announcement. Dr. Aphra returns in June, teaming up in the post-Return of the Jedi era with Luke Skywalker. That's so cool.
Oh, wow.
So her and Luke are going to be doing things. Her electro nodes that help her hack are not working, so she has to team up with Luke and get into some hijinks. What is Luke up to in this post-ROTJ era? Why is he teaming up with Aphra? Whenever these two collide, you get Goofy Luke, and I always love Goofy Luke.
Nice.
It's really some good stuff there. So me as a huge Star Wars fan, a huge Dr. Aphra fan, I'm very excited for that new direction. And yeah, I'm gonna be watching the Severance finale right after this, and I can't wait. It's peak TV, guys. Severance, The Pitt, some good shows on TV these days. So go watch it. Adolescent, I'm watching that this weekend. It's a new miniseries from the UK on Netflix. So yeah, big TV, a lot of time. So yeah. How about you, Nathan?
You can follow me at _TimeBlazer, making a show called Time Blazer with co-starring Craig Salt and Evan Harris.
Playing Ben, who's a better lawyer than Matt Murdock.
Bold
Bold.
claim.
All right.
I like it. I like it. I just one quick thing. I just watched a recent episode of Abbott Elementary. I believe you probably still need to catch up.
I'm like 4 episodes behind. I'm catching up though. I'm catching up.
Get on it, man. I was getting misty eyed.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I just watched the episode where they were at the what's it called? District, and they were like trying to like Ava had to preach her case or whatever.
Yeah, that was a good
fun
episode.
Yeah,
good stuff.
So yeah.
Yeah, that being said, if you guys enjoyed this, make sure you like the button. Subscribe now, right? Ring the bell so you don't miss coverage on all things movie, TV. And that being said, hope you have a great day. Catch you guys next time.